We're a family of five who spend most of our summers sailing around in our 28-foot sailboat Helios. Join us as we travel and adventure around Denmark and the Baltic Sea. Hey guys, here I am down on the boat, and in this episode I'm going to tell you a little bit about our change in plans, and also going to show you some of the projects we've been doing on the boat before our trip. First and foremost, because of the COVID situation, we've had to cancel our trip down the European canal system to the Mediterranean. We're just too afraid that we might get stuck if some borders close and we can't get from one country to the next. There's too many different countries we're going through. But instead of that, we're not giving up the canals completely. So we've decided to go up to Sweden. So we're going to sail through Denmark and then over to the island of Bornholm up the Swedish east coast, and then through the Göta Canal over to the Swedish west coast and back down to Denmark. So that should also be a very nice trip, and we're looking pretty much forward to it. The one thing that is maybe a bit tricky is that right now it's still not possible to go to Sweden from Denmark, but we hope the borders will open up during the summer, so it will be possible. And of course I'm going to take some videos and show you some of the trip later. So the problem with the way I mounted the self-steering last year is that because this hook goes against the hatch, I had to pull it out in order to make it able to turn. But unfortunately, the manual actually warned me against this. There's just not enough momentum. The self-steering device can't turn it very far to either side. But then last year when we were out sailing, another guy with a similar boat showed me this tiny screw, and supposedly if you screw it up, then you can use it to force the tiller to get up higher. So I'm going to try to do that, but unfortunately it also means I'm going to have to move the mounting here, which is pretty stuck, but it has to be done. So fortunately it seems he was right. If I put the screw up a bit higher, then the whole tiller is lifted. And as you can see, this mounting is now able to be put much farther back. So hopefully that will get a lot more momentum on the autopilot. Okay, so how do I get all this stuff off? At least I can take the block back home and give it a good sanding, and it should look okay again. Then we just need to get it mounted over here instead. Well, after wiping and sanding, it's not as bad as I feared, but it's especially the places where I used the multi-tool, where it has gone a bit down into the gel coat. I probably should have done it manually, but then again, probably never would have come off if I hadn't used the multi-tool. I got the bracket off, and it looks like I should be able to mount it pretty far back. So that's nice. Should give it much more momentum. So I've got it all lined up. Now I just have to get the mounting bracket glued on. Then we should be ready to go. mounting for the self-steering device also seems to be working pretty well. As you can see now, we have much more momentum, and it should be able to steer the boat pretty good from now on, I think. So that will come in handy on long passages. So I got the prop cleaned up nicely. Usually I just use regular anti-fouling on it, but that never seems to work. So this year I'm gonna try this, first priming it with some Hempel prop primer, and then after that there's another special anti-fouling for propels from Hempel that I'm also gonna give it a couple of layers of. So we'll see if that works out better. That was the first layer. I think that looks pretty good. And it just needs another layer of primer and then a couple of layers of anti-fouling. So time for a couple of layers of this prop NCT anti-fouling. My wife came down to help me. We're gonna put the windows back in. We've had them out and cleaned them, and then when we put them back in, we're gonna put some silicone grease all around, and then hopefully there'll be no more leaks. Are you ready, honey? Mm-hmm. It fits. Down here in the main cabin, where the plan is to paint the whole thing white, actually. And there's a couple of reasons for this. So, first of all, there was a lot of stuff mounted to the walls that I've removed, and also the old varnish was not looking very nice. The biggest reason is I've never been able to varnish. It just always looks terrible when I do it, and also it will probably make the cabin a lot less dark, so that will be a plus also. So I've sanded everything down, and I've been filling the old holes with epoxy, and then it's going to be painted in an off-white color, it's called, when I'm done. So we're getting ready to paint, and Anne is the masking tape master. No turning back. I managed to find a small opening down to the diesel tank. So So I'm gonna see if I can use this pump to get all the diesel out and then see if I can clean the tank afterwards. It's I don't know if you can see it, it's pretty dark, but I can already see there's a lot of nasty stuff down in the tank. Yummy! That's probably what has been stopping our engine once in a while. So I got this small USB inspection camera. I've got it hooked up right here to the computer. Hello! I'm gonna try to put it down the tank and see what kind of nasty stuff we have down there. So let's try doing that. Oh shit, that looks nasty. Well, I was just about to give up, but then I got an idea and I manufactured my very own goo vacuum, I would call it. I mounted a small piece of hose to an old vacuum, and then by putting the hose down into the tank, I've managed to suck pretty much most of it out. The vacuum is destroyed, however, but that was gonna get thrown out anyway. But if we look down the tank now, there's almost nothing left. So I finally finished cleaning the diesel tank, and one of the other things I've been wanting to do is move this diesel filter, which was located behind here and was very hard to get to because of all this wiring, which looks like a mess, by the way. And I've been meaning to mount it over here where it's much more accessible. Anyway, I've been toying with it for days because I want to add an extra fitting so I can get a hose down to the diesel heater, and it was just impossible to find one that would fit. In the end, I actually found out it was because this old filter, which you can see, it says made in England, and it turns out that because of this the fittings are not the same, probably because they use the imperial system instead of the metric system. So I had to go out and buy this entirely new filter. But anyway, that's then it's going to be much easier from now on. So I'm going to mount it somewhere over here, where it should be much easier to change the filter and drain the water out of it. Well, I'm finally finished with the new fuel system, so I just want to show you guys what I've changed. So, well, first and foremost, I obviously cleaned the tank. Then I've added new hoses everywhere, and also a mechanism to shut off the fuel. There wasn't one like this before. So that'll come in handy if I have to check something in the future. I can turn off the fuel while I'm doing it. And that goes over to the new filter, which I've mounted over here. And unlike before, there's now two exits. One goes down here to the engine, and the other goes to the diesel heater, which also has an extra small filter on. I'm not exactly sure that's necessary, but there was one before, so I just added a new one. The old one was pretty dirty.